Alright, so, hey guys, my name's Gabe Brandon. This is a video submittal that we're going to do for our assignment on the discussion of social media, its role in the church. And so I'm here with Jeremy Shaw. This is the youth pastor at Von Orr Baptist, where I attend. And he has been using social media here for, as soon as you come, really. You started creating Von Orr youth accounts. You started reaching out and making posts and then things like that, right? So, almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in November, right?
Correct. Yes.
So 3 years of utilizing social media as a platform to really help outsource help for different events. You know, we can say, hey, I want to try to reach beyond the youth group and the youth parents. Anybody that's willing to come out and join us. There's those kinds of things. There's reaching out with just encouragement with the youth, sporting events, things like that they do. There's just a lot of different posts that you make, and you utilize it in a really great way, I think, personally. Jeremy came to us a few years ago. He came from Alabama. As you can see, he's got his roll tide, but he's been a blessing with his family to our church. And so I've seen, from the outsider's perspective, how the social media platform has really, I think, helped the youth ministry. He came at a time where we were struggling, so I think that it's been really great to see how he's used it for honoring God, for furthering Christ's kingdom, and for encouraging our students. I think all those things tied together really well. So I just want to go in, have a little discussion, have some questions for him, just talking about social media and using it within the church and how it can be used. So I'll just go ahead and get started. So the first question I've got for you is, can you just tell us a little bit about your training as a minister, as you went to college, you went to seminary? Was there discussion about utilizing media? I know that Snapchat and Instagram and all that really wasn't out there at that point in time, but just any kind of media use in general that you might have been exposed to while you were working on that.
I think in seminary, back when I finished in 2004, the biggest thing that was promoted was to use your church website and to really utilize that and make that as a point where, it was the age where everybody was getting on the web, and so you wanted to make it the best you can be, and there were so many helps and free website things that you could do to get out there to just get your church name out there, because people were getting on the web. It was so popular. So that was the main thing when I was in seminary was, hey, when you become a pastor or you're a student pastor in ministry, you want your church to have a healthy website. And I would say that most churches that you see, that is not one thing they have. We don't keep them up to date like we should, and people are looking at that. So I think it's a big thing that can be a very positive thing for a church to have a good website and other social media things today. But I would say that was the biggest thing when I was in college.
Okay, so you weren't encouraged to maybe stay away from it. I think there's a school of thought out there that says media use within the church is it's horrible. You should kind of shun technology, stay back to those traditional ways, and that we run into some of that around here.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I was wondering. That's what I was kind of wanting to make sure of it is that aspect as far as your training goes really wasn't prevalent. You were even then they were really encouraging. Hey, this is a good thing.
Well, I mean, some of the professors, but then you do have the old train of thought that it really doesn't matter and stuff. It's the people-on-people relationships, but there are those people in the day and age we were living and coming up. I think, especially me coming in high school, were probably some of the first students that had computers. We didn't have typing. Yeah. We had computer class in high school, so it changed that way of thinking, and then and I guess our college and seminary started changing that way of thinking too. That they wanted to, point out that websites can be useful and stuff like that. So, but you definitely had the train of thought. Some of the older professors and people that you were in church with that didn't think it mattered or anything.
So, with that kind of segues just right into the second question, which really deals with have you encountered personally any kind of tension, I guess, from churches that you've been a pastor of or that you have worked within that have looked at social media or looked at any kind of media use really in general and said, well, why don't you just not do that?
No, because of getting to learn and know about social media, I think it's been a positive that most of the churches want somebody that has a desire to reach people through that. So for the places I've been, it's always been a positive. People have encouraged, because the pastors I had, kind of, that was not their forte or not something they were used to or didn't have when they were in seminary. So to have somebody, knowing the day and age we live, that people are on those media type things, they wanted someone to help them get that out there.
Awesome. That's good, because I think for students like me right now who's going in and they're obtaining their degrees and they're starting to go through that training and they're saying, there's really good in being able to use this, and I think that it can be a great tool for the church to utilize. We definitely want to make sure that we carry that message out to the church, and that
Right.
the pastors and that the lay people in the church understand, hey, this isn't a bad thing. It's really good. And so to know that over the years that you've been pastoring, you haven't had to encounter and really deal with that from a negative aspect is encouraging to students like me. So I'm hoping that that'll serve as encouragement to others that may watch this video. But as we've already clearly established, both of us are proponents for utilizing media, and specifically want to get really focused in on the social media. Whether it be Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, any of that thing. I just want to know, what types of social media do you currently use here at Vonore, and out of those platforms, which ones do you think have you seen the most response out of, or have been most effective?
Right. We use Facebook. We do use Twitter. We use Instagram and Snapchat. I think students right now, their most popular would be Instagram and Snapchat. Snapchat as a way for you, just say last week, we had an event and we had over 90 students here, and we created a Snapchat filter so they could see that event and take a picture. And it's just good, with our logo that we have for our student ministry. It's just advertisement for them to show their friends and let their friends see, hey man, look what this youth group's doing, because I don't know of anybody in our county that's doing anything like that. So it's a way for them to really pump up and show our student ministry what it's about, and they can take videos with it, and so it's a great way of the things that we do on Wednesday nights, especially for them to show that. But then we do a Facebook Live every Wednesday, and we're having over 200 viewers each week, and that's been a thing I think, people think, well, older people use Facebook. Well, we have a lot of students. It seems that everybody has Facebook. Demographics and age affect the other ones, but everybody, even these students from 12 up, have a Facebook, and their parents, most of our kids, their parents monitor it. And we also pay for advertisement when we have events, and we run those for however many, period of time for our church. But definitely any student event that we do, that way so many times a day, parents and individuals see that, and they see what's going on in a certain demographic for us to invite them to our events and things like that. And through the video, of the video, that our next steps are through that, or posting, live streaming them or whatever, where they can have through whatever one we use, they'll have a way to go and watch them back each week and stuff. So, but Instagram, we use that to promote them. You can do the live short videos on Instagram now. Twitter is just not there yet. It's more informational. We put the information, but it's just not as usable as Instagram, as you advertise the biggest for the students. But then the Snapchat is really what they like to do, those pictures and have those filters and things.
Okay. And that makes sense, because it's just so much easier. You can say less with just sending a picture. Say, hey, this is boom, here it is, and that image helps, I think, stick with a lot of people. And so utilizing the things that they're already most likely on with a lot of their friends at school. Snapchat's really easy to use, so it's already there for them right there at their fingertips. one of the positive things that I know that I've seen social media getting used here for was that live streaming on Facebook. So I was hoping that maybe you mentioned it and it made me think, if you could maybe talk to some positive aspects that you've seen out of that, out of the streaming, and bringing that into the church.
I think the biggest thing is it's connected our parents to our student ministry and also our church members because they love seeing our students sing and lead worship. But in our student ministry, we try to have where the only thing I do is get up there and teach. So the students are doing everything else. So when a parent sees that, not just church parent or other parents, they'll say, hey, this is a student ministry for the students. And, I'm up there just to teach and guide. We want to get students involved in every way we can, and using that media for people to see that it's a student-led worship team, it's a student-led ministry that we do, that we have boundaries for those kids, but it's a way for them to see that. But it's also, I think for us, doing it each week, it shows the community that and the people that are watching, that what's going on. And it's an accountability thing of what we want to build and just share what God's doing and how God is using our students and using the student ministry here at Vonore Baptist.
And that, as you're talking about that and sharing it and letting the parents see it and let the church members see it regardless of age, but then the people on the outside too, it just kind of makes me wonder about, since there aren't many people, if any, that are really utilizing social media like you all are here at Vonore, as you monitor those accounts, as you all manage them. I say you all because I'm not managing those accounts
Right.
at all. But because our sister churches within our association and within our counties, do you think that they might look at this and maybe even you hope they'll look at this and say, hey, this is a good model for us to pick up. This is something that we can try and really kind of encourage the other churches that have some good. There's some really great ministries in different areas of our county that I think could benefit from beefing up, so to speak, their social media presence.
I definitely think so, because I think in the society we live, rapid changing, rapid moving, and the thing for us is having the students that we have. There's so many students that can't come to youth group on Wednesday night. There's parents that that are involved in other things that you want them to still be a part. And so for them to be able to watch it back or see it, it's a way when they miss out, because and that's what you want the other churches to see, because we're just in a day and age where people are all over the place, they're always on the go. So using social media to get that message out there in a positive way, because they're looking at stuff. People are watching social media. They're looking at videos. The time that people spend watching YouTube and videos every day, that's another one.
Yeah.
That's the stage where we're going to go next, is to put that, or Vimeo, for the people to go back and watch them, and have a channel for our student ministry and things like that people can see that, because they're there, they're watching. The church should utilize it for the kingdom of God. Why should we let everyone else utilize something that could be so good and so positive for us?
Right. So it's definitely operating within the cultural context, which is exactly what we see in Scripture anyways.
Right.
Christ goes to the places that the people are at, and then that need the message of the gospel and need the encouragement.
Correct.
He came to heal the sick, not the healthy, And I think that we can learn that say, hey, let's go where the people are, and let's help them see the light of Christ. Let's help them hear that gospel message and receive that grace through the means that they're already being exposed to, and by utilizing the platforms that the rest of the world is using.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let's use it for something really good. But with that, I think that we do have to be somewhat cautious. Social media use in general, it does, when you open that door, it does almost, it gives a way for negative impacts to come in. If you don't use it with wisdom and utilize it with the right heart set, the right mindset. So, do you have any words of caution some good things, some good tips for ministers or for churches when they say, hey, you're going to use this platform. Here's some things that we've considered, some things maybe we've ran into,
Right.
experiences, anything like that. It's just, hey, this is where you need to, here's some wisdom for you to kind of monitor, to kind of watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely your agenda should be promoting the kingdom of Christ, and that's what we want to do. And if it's different things that we do, that's the kind of events. That's what we want to message that we want to get. It's all about the kingdom of Christ and the message that Christ came and lived on this earth. We don't want to get involved in other things, other agendas, whether they be politically or socially. We want it to all be about Christ and His kingdom. So that is the parameters I would encourage, and that's the standard. If you hold that, what can people say?
Right.
As a believer, we know that there's not much when you're promoting Christ and it's all about Christ that they can go against that. So, and the big thing with students and working with students, if you're a pastor, we have students that do our media, is just holding them accountable, making sure that if they're involved in your devices, that they know that the temptations that are out there socially to protect themselves, and you need to have those values and promote it to them for them to know to stay on the right path themselves. So.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying, because I think that something that kind of gets lost, especially whenever you start involving your students and things like that with a younger crowd, is that individuals, they have to understand that if they go forward and they're trying to promote anything with the church or anything like that, they're automatically a representative of that church. And so as you talking and I thought about it some more, I thought, if anybody decides, I'm really going to advertise this for my church, and I'm going to try to be more of a media presence for my church because I've got the best capabilities, or I understand it, they kind of really feel that, then I think that it's important for them to understand that they represent Christ first and foremost, like you mentioned, and then also, hey, I'm a representative of the church, and so whatever I end up liking, whatever I end up spending time looking at that comes up on my feed or that I share or anything like that, is people are going to say, well, hey, I think this is this guy runs this for the church. What does the church think about this?
Right.
And so it's a representation thing as well that I think people really need to be cautious of and aware of, essentially, and just helping youth see that they're going to be looked at in a wider sense than maybe we realize in times. But at this time, do you have anything else you want to say about social media use or anything like that right now? I just kind of want to open that up to you.
I just think for us, it's been a positive, and one of the things that we look forward to using because people are, social media with students and parents, they're on there. So I think it's a positive for us that the next steps for us is, putting scripture things out there. We do that, and events, promoting those and doing the live services. But we want to be strategic, so more discipleship stuff. We're going to do some 1-minute devotional videos and different things like that, 5-minute teaching things on maybe a doctrine or something. And then one thing we're excited for students, we're going to start doing some things at their games and doing some fun things, some Facebook Live at the games, but also like the hits of the week from the football game, the shot of the week at the basketball game, different things like that is what our goal is this year, to take it to the next step of using social media just to promote that through the kids and maybe using it as outreach.
Yeah.
So.
No, I think that's an awesome idea because how much of a volume it speaks just to the youth that are in your church and the community outside of saying, man, these people are really trying to invest in their lives, really trying to aid these kids, and maybe that helps draw more attention and draw more family members in to being active and being more encouraging and things like that. So, at this time, I really want to thank you for taking the time out just to go through this and just discuss social media use. Guys, I think that we have a great opportunity if we want to use it. If we will just take the message of Christ and use it within the cultural context that we've been given, then we can bring honor and glory to Him like never before imagined. We are connected globally.
Amen.
Where the gospel is literally shared with one like. And thousands of people, things can go viral in just minutes, how it can be shared. And so when we start showing this and we become a strong presence, it's undeniably going to be seen by individuals that desperately need Jesus in their lives. And that's all that it's about. We're just a bunch of beggars telling other beggars where to find bread. So let's just get out there in that marketplace and share the good news. But thank you very much. I wish you the best.